Hello there everybody, it is me XFreezerBunny and welcome back to another Sims 4 speed building video. Okay guys, so today I am working with Sekyria on our collaboration video on the Victorian style apartments. Okay guys, once again I am back with another set of apartments. This time we're going back a couple of 100 years to Victorian times, and yeah, I'm so excited to actually bring you guys another collab video. And I decided to do a collab with Sekyria, who is a very talented builder. You guys should definitely hop on her channel and show her some love because she definitely is gonna deserve it. And yeah, all the links will be in the description below as usual. Anyway, I was actually the one who asked her to do a collab. I was doing my usual browsing on YouTube, doing my usual stuff, and I came across her channel and I'm just like, okay, I love her work. I need to work with her right now. So literally out of the blue, I messaged her on Twitter if she was interested, and she was game, you know. And then a couple of days later, we were working on the apartments, and it's kind of crazy. She was so much fun to work with, and both of us shared the ideas and just tried to be creative with it. And both of us are surprisingly really into that kind of historical style builds as well, which was really fun. So yeah, she did mention in one of her videos that she liked apartments, so that's what we ended up deciding to do. And as you guys can see, this is actually part 2 of the series. As you guys can see, she did the first part already, and very successfully, I might add. Originally, she made like this very colorful apartment, and I'm just like, okay, what can I do to complement it? And a lot of the decisions that I make in terms of the design, in terms of the plan of the apartment that I build, were heavily based on her initial design for her apartment. So as you guys can see, I stuck really closely to the shape and to the footprint of the building that she had, and also tried to make it look as different as possible. Both of us seem to really like the idea of these bay windows, and these are a staple in Victorian architecture, so we just had to have that though. Sekyria's build is 2 stories with 2 bedrooms, if I remember correctly. Mine is 4 stories including the basement, and it has 3 bedrooms, so combined that's about 5 bedrooms in total. So yeah, it's really fun. You get 2 kitchens, 2 dining rooms, 2 of everything pretty much. And I'm so excited to bring you guys another apartment because I've been doing a lot of these lately. I mean, I'm kind of known for my apartments anyway, but this is actually the very first one that I built in a historical design, and I'm so freaking excited. Anyway, the color scheme for my apartment, I did stick really closely to just white because I really like the pureness of it, and it looked legit, you know. It looked like something that would exist in London like a century ago, and I think the white color really complements Sekyria's build. On like, she used a lot of bright colors, she used a lot of very saturated colors, and I'm just like, okay, I think white would be a good complement. It looks like the buildings have been designed by 2 different architects, and I really like it. And yeah, anyway, so we are working on the floor plan. You know what, you guys, I might as well talk about this right now. The time that I'm doing this recording, the interview with Rachel Franklin just got released, and a lot of people have been talking about it. A lot of people are finally expressing their negative impressions on The Sims 4, which is kind of refreshing because when The Sims 4 first got released, a lot of YouTubers were kind of sugarcoating it and kind of pretending that they liked it. And it's interesting to see now that people are actually being honest and saying that they don't like the game, they don't like the fact that toddlers are not in it, they don't like the fact that like, you know, like creative style isn't in it, and they also don't like the fact that like open world isn't it. I mean, for me, the biggest disappointment of The Sims 4 is definitely the lack of open world. I don't care about toddlers as much as other people would, and I also don't care about, you know what, I don't want to make this video like one big rant, but I think one special feature of my build is the fact that it has a basement, and that's actually something that you would see very common in Victorian homes, especially like in London or in Paris. They have like a basement, and you can see like some part of it from the front. Like the front of the house has like like part of it submerged, like to make it look like a basement. And so I don't know what I'm talking about, but that's pretty much it. And interestingly enough, I started building this apartment as a separate structure in all from Sekyria's, but eventually I did decide to make it attach to Sekyria's build, because I was just like, you know what, I feel like it would look so much better if I attach this guy and make it look like, you know, one house that's kind of decorated separately, if that makes any sense. But yeah, working on the interiors took me forever, you know. This build took me like a little bit less than 4 hours to build. It's like 3 hours and 40 minutes long. I didn't edit anything out. Everything you guys can see is everything that I did. But surprisingly, it took me like a while, considering it's a collab build and, you know, it's just half of a lot. It took me a really, really long time. The interiors are very elaborate and they're really awesome as well. I did push myself to put some extra like decorations for the interior to make it, you know, very Victorian, and yeah. And I also use like this red wallpaper for the main public rooms, I guess. So the main living room and the dining room are gonna have these like red, intensely bright red colors, which are great. And I also did use the unlocked sheet to open up some unlockable content. And I took a break here and grabbed some water because I didn't bother editing it out, because I don't think it will take that long anyway. I literally ran to my kitchen, grabbed my picture, and I'm just like, okay, it's 10 seconds already. I need to get back to my chair and continue building. But anyway, so yeah, I did unlock some content. I unlocked those bookshelves, and I think they look really nice. Those bookshelves are actually really tall, and I think they work really well with taller walls. I think that's one consideration that they really needed to make, because most of the items are built for like the smallest or shortest wall height. So if you go up a couple of wall heights, it begins to look really awkward, I guess. So yeah, anyway, once again, I did try to put in a ton of clutter to make it look like legit Victorian. Every time I think about Victorian, I think about like really dark rooms and tons and tons of clutter, like mountains of clutter. And I don't know, for some reason I think of Sherlock Holmes. I don't even watch Sherlock or something, but that's kind of what I think of. And yeah, but you know, this is, you know, what I had in mind for this build was it's gonna be like a middle class family. You know, we have some middle class, working class people as parents, and then they have kids, and then they have like a housekeeper. So you guys will actually see me eventually put like a housekeeper's room in a basement, or it could also be a guest room. But who would put a guest room in a basement? I kind of intended it for it to be a housekeeper's room anyway, so that's that. Had a really tricky time placing the rugs because I just couldn't find the right size of rug, if you guys get what I mean, for the room. So I ended up placing two instead, one on the bottom of the fireplace and then one in the middle of the chairs. And I really, really like that one Aztec-y looking rug. I think it really complements the intense red tones that we used throughout this room. And yeah, just placing in some additional clutter. In a little bit, I will be placing some screens, like some actual screens, which by the way, I use those screens like a lot, even in my contemporary builds, because I feel like they lighten up the space, and I feel like they kind of draw the attention to like an empty corner, which is really nice. And of course, I did have a lot of fun playing with paintings, and I was really surprised that you can actually raise the mirrors up by enabling the move objects key and pressing the 9 button. I was really surprised, and I was really I don't know, I really like that feature. But yeah, adding in a bunch of paintings, which is also a characteristic of Victorian architecture. For these archways, I placed some curtains actually, which is an unusual setup. But yeah, working on the dining room now. It actually turned out really symmetrical, and of course there's a million chairs in one, and you guys are probably gonna hate me because this room literally had so much chairs, and I know that you guys kind of don't like having so many chairs in one room, but you know what, I did try to make it look different by making the room an octagon shape, and you guys will see me in a little bit actually put some extra walls and stuff, make it an octagon shape, and I just really didn't like it. I'm just like, you know what, I'm just gonna do this the way I wanted it to. The octagon kind of made it look like, you know, like a fortune teller's room or something. I think it's because of the rug or something, or maybe the colors, but I don't know, it just looked really awkward, and I will eventually make it into a square once again. And yeah, this build actually took me like 2 days to complete. Sekyria actually built her in, I think, in one sitting, which is amazing for me. Usually I take some time off away from the house and try to look at it objectively. So you guys can see me try to incorporate some asymmetry here, which I'm just like, you know what, this looks so random. It does not look formal at all. And you know, if you're trying to build like a dining room, you have to like make an effort to make it look formal, right? Because the dining room, even more than the living room, I think is the most formal room of the house, because you know, that's where you would go to entertain your guests and stuff. So I really made an effort to make it look formal. Thus, I opted for a more symmetrical layout and stuff. So you guys will see me change it here in just a second. There we go. It's back to being a rectangle, which is great. And I did just copy in pretty much everything else that I placed. Once again, I tried to place something different on the other side by placing those side tables and stuff, adding in some roses on those, and also some kind of an urn with a flower arrangement on the middle of the table, because I felt like it looked really formal. But I will change things up eventually in a little bit later on when I take some time off and try to look at the game objectively. I will add a bunch of other stuff as well. And yeah, I am the most indecisive person ever. So this lot, as you guys will see in just a little bit, originally started off as just 2 stories above ground and 1 story below ground. But I eventually added an extra story on the topmost level because I just felt like it needed to have some height. You guys see these Victorian homes that are super tall. They're like, some of them get to like 4 to 5 stories, and they tend to be really compact. They tend to be really compressed and narrow, and I'm just like, okay, I need a little bit of height. So I decided to add in an extra tower or an extra 3rd level. It's a very small room, which will eventually become an office. I like the idea of making that a bedroom instead, but I'm just like, you know what, this house already had 3 bedrooms and no office, so I made it like an office, kind of like creative skill building room instead. So yeah. And then the 2nd floor was so tricky to plan around. I don't know why it was so tricky for me to figure out a floor plan for the 2nd floor. Oh my gosh, my voice cracked. Oh my gosh. The teenage boy in me is coming out. I'm kidding. I wish. But I'm in my 20s already, so I don't know. I don't even know why my voice cracked. Maybe I need to drink some water. But anyway. Okay, so like I was saying, the 2nd floor was such a pain to plan around, and eventually, like originally the basement level was so much bigger than how it ended up to be. So you guys just saw me in a little bit there remove some of the space, because I'm just like, you know what, this build is so ambitious already. Like, what is happening? I don't know why. I feel like this was a bathroom break or something, because for some reason I feel like I like taking breaks like that. I don't know why, but I don't know. I should probably edit these out, but you know, it's just a couple of seconds of footage anyway. And yeah, anyway, I did end up creating a nice layout for the 2nd floor. This level has the master bedroom and the kids room and 2 bathrooms. And the house has 4 bathrooms, by the way. We have 3 full bathrooms and 1 half bathroom. Okay, so that's nice. And yeah, I also changed those floor patterns into like a parquet wood type of thing, which I feel like complemented the wallpaper and the wall panelings that I chose. The wall paneling that I used all throughout the house, I tried to make it consistent. So it is exactly the same one, only in different colors, which is nice. I really like that uniformity and stuff like that. It shows you how much you're able to do with one color scheme. It shows you that if you change the color of one material, it changes the whole entire look, So yeah, working on the master bedroom, I went for like a very generic kind of, I don't know what color it is, maybe like dirty white, bone type of color. Cream, I guess, would be great. But yeah, I went for a very creamy color scheme because I felt, because the master bedroom is like shared between, the husband and the wife. And I'm just like, okay, I need a color that would kind of suit both of their tastes. And I did go for something a little bit more conservative, but I'm so happy with this master bedroom actually because it is huge. I was able to fit in like a legit desk, and then I was also able to fit in like even a bookshelf. There's a ton of stuff in this master bedroom, which is nice and fun. And for once, I was able to use that rug effectively for good use. Cause I don't know, the rugs in The Sims 4 are a little bit of an awkward size. So it's a little bit tricky to find a use for them, but I was able to use it really nicely anyway. But yeah. Adding in some more clutter, and then a nice little office area for the master of the house in the middle of that bay window, which I really, really like that feature. Even I also really liked the way that I put those curtains and stuff. I feel like those curtains I never use at all, but I'm so happy that I was able to use them here though, because I don't know, there's a first time for everything, I guess. But yeah, how have you guys been doing? Yeah, have you guys seen my previous build yet? Which was uploaded exactly 1 week ago. Oh my gosh, I also forgot to mention that I have a new house building series if you guys have not seen it yet. The Thailand Royal Palace. A couple of parts of it are now up. I think this weekend is when I'm planning to record the next couple of episodes and stuff, so yeah. Anyway, it's really awesome, and yeah, so my idea for the kids' bedroom is that they had 2 girls. I don't know, I just went for, girls instead, because I had that really nice pink wallpaper, and I'm just like, okay, this would work really nice for a girl's room, but you guys will see me struggle so hard to make this room perfect. It was such a struggle for me to overcome, and I think this was actually the room that I kind of spent most of my time in, because it was so difficult. It had a really awkward L shape, but since it had that bay window, it made the shape even more complicated, if you guys get what I mean. So I'm just like, okay, this is so difficult. What can I add? What features do they need? So I was able to incorporate like a closet, 2 beds, and a mirror, a screen, and a chair. I wanted to put in a side table, but I wasn't able to because I think it needed a little bit more light. We all know that The Sims 4 is kind of notorious for having really crappy indoor lighting, and I'm just like, okay, this lighting is so dim. This is not 1850, it's like, it's 2015, but we live in an antique house is what I was trying to go for, but it works, yeah, whatever. So you guys can see me really, really struggle. I changed the layout of the room 10 times, literally. And yeah, so yeah, once again, adding in a bunch of paintings, and it was just such a struggle. I know that it was so difficult. I had I have this pet peeve where I play The Sims 3, just The Sims series in general, as kind of like a dollhouse. And every time I play my game, there's a fixed view that I always take. And, that fixed view needs to have all the items face it and stuff like that. It's kind of set dressing, if you guys get what I mean. So I tried to make it nice to look at, gameplay wise, so the items aren't blocking anything and stuff like that. And that balance was so difficult to finalize or like to come up with. But I actually really liked how the kids' bedroom turned out, and as you guys can see, it looked really nice. I feel like I could use, yeah, there we go. We did kind of play a little bit with a painting. We're gonna add those nice little rooster paintings, which are so funny. I totally think that The Sims 4 could use more Victorian or period style paintings because we just don't have enough, you know. And yeah, once again, continuing on with like more white motifs. This time we are adding some flower baskets, which are really nice. I think it does complement the look. And those bay windows for the bathrooms were actually inspired by the bay windows that Sekyria had placed in our house, because I did not realize, like, I know that there are bay windows in the game, but I didn't realize that we had, I mean, I don't know. I just never use bay windows that often, and I'm just like, okay, you know what? This is Victorian times. They're into bay windows, and I'm just like, okay, that works. And the bathroom was really nice. I think it was really fun as well. I think the layout overall was really interesting since it's kind of like an L-shaped. But yeah, I was able to fit in like a cross between a shower and a bathtub, which is great. Gives you more options when you're taking a bath, if you want to take a shower, if you want to take a bathtub. But one item that I was really happy that I was able to use is this kind of soap container or something, I don't know, which I will be placing in like another bathroom. Oh my gosh, I'm losing energy now. Like my energy when I started the video was like, okay, 110, and now I'm just like at a 80 or something. Anyway, I think the one room in the house that I really dislike doing out of all is probably the bathroom, because the bathroom is a really tricky situation. You try to make it look exciting, at the same time it's a bathroom, you know, just what do you expect? And not, you know, people don't spend that much time in the bathroom anyway, so just, you know, why put so much effort? But I did put so much effort in the bathrooms in this house, so yeah, kudos to that. And kudos that it's been forever since I've last used that word. Most of the items are the same, and I did make it a point to add 2 sinks. For some strange reason, I don't know why. You guys are probably gonna hate me for being too excessive or too symmetrical, but I feel like 2 sinks kind of like, I don't know, I just really like it. And then you guys can see me struggle with the lighting over here. I don't understand why wall sconces in The Sims 4 are so dim. Like, why are they so dim? Normally, wall sconces would be enough to illuminate the room, but in this house, or like in this game, you would need to place like a ceiling light to make the room illuminate. Otherwise, you would be stuck with a dark room. Anyway, you guys can see me just switch on and off the first and second floor while decorating this kind of, what do you call this? Powder room. There we go. I wanted to add like a bathtub, but I didn't have enough space, so I ended up just placing some clutter instead. Some nice little flower arrangement and some nice little cabinets to keep the soap and the towels and stuff. And I think it actually looks great. Okay, right now we are working on the basement level, and yeah, I'm so excited. This is a thing in Victorian architecture, and I'm just super happy that I was able to incorporate it. I think it makes the building look 10 times more complicated than it actually is. But the basement level has the kitchen, and it has like a breakfast area within the kitchen, which you guys will see. This whole entire room was originally gonna be a kitchen. Then I saw that it was too big, so what I did is that I split it into 2. I wanted to have like a breakfast area and then like a separate kitchen area. Then I realized that, okay, we already have like so many areas to have food. We have the dining room on the ground floor, and we have this breakfast area attached to the kitchen, plus kind of like another breakfast area. in the room right next to the kitchen. I'm just like, okay, there's just too much. So that's why I opted for like a servant's room instead, like a housekeeper's room. I feel like this household in Victorian times would have been able to afford at least a housekeeper. And yeah, you know, the lady of the house can stay at home and, you know, take care of the cooking and kind of manage the house. The housekeeper can, of course, help her. And then the man of the house can go to work and stuff like that. So yeah. There is like a breakfast area in the dining room. I mean, in the kitchen though, which is great. But we will move the kitchen actually into the area where we have that bay that leads to the lower terrace, as I'd like to call it, or like the lower part of the base, or the outside part of the basement, if that makes any sense. And that room at the back will be the housekeeper's room. Okay. Once again, for some reason, I'm so obsessed with pairing things, and I ended up placing a pair of stoves, which once again is a little bit excessive, but whatever. The kitchen, as much as I wanted it to be like more elaborate, it just, you know, I just ran out of ideas, and I don't know. Sometimes I like to make really elaborate kitchens, and sometimes I just don't feel it. I think depends on the space. I think one really special feature about this kitchen is it's in the basement, but it leads to the outside still. And there's gonna be like a lot of landscaping on the outside of the kitchen, which is great. It's like a kitchen garden, if you guys get what I mean. There's like some food stuff. You can plant some crops. I made it a point to place some like planter boxes there and stuff, and also a ton of decorative plants. Okay, there we go. So you guys can see me just work on the housekeeper's room there in just a little bit, which, by the way, the layout of this room, as small as it is and as simple as it might look like, it took me forever to figure out the layout of the housekeeper's room, because I'm just like, okay, I don't want this room to look too ostentatious. It's just a housekeeper's room. You know, like, what do you need? So I'm just like, you know, I went for something that kind of, you know, my peg for this was, or like my inspiration for this was like Mrs. Hughes from Downton Abbey. Like, what would Mrs. Hughes have for her, you know, for her bedroom? And just a nice little bed that looks really comfortable and looks like some old people would like it. And then some nice little warm wood tones to bring in that warmth. And I don't know, it turned out really nice. I will flip in some of the items eventually. And yeah, it looks really nice and awesome. Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, you guys can see me go back to the dining room and once again kind of do some things with the layout of the maid's room and stuff, or like the housekeeper's room. And then I realized, okay, the housekeeper doesn't have a bathroom. I don't want her to go all the way to the second floor just to take a bath. So I'm just like, okay, we have a little bit more space in the basement. I think we can use, or like, I think we can accommodate like another bathroom. And just like, okay, you know what? I am too lazy to come up with an entirely new layout for this. So I just went ahead and actually copied the other items that I had already placed in the other parts of the house, which, you know what? I think it actually looked really nice. It looks like a really nice bathroom befitting a housekeeper, you know. And then over here we have some extra space, so I kind of added like a lot of storage. So I had like some china cabinets, a nice little desk for the housekeeper, which can also be turned into an additional dining table if we need to, you know, if you need to like extend your dining space. I think that offers like a nice little extension. Some herbs, of course, for use in the kitchen, and there we go, nice little corner for the housekeeper. And adding in some rugs to the bathroom. I don't know why I added some rugs, but yeah. Anyway, I had so much fun actually working on the lower basement, or the open part of the basement level, because this is the point where I'm just like, okay, I am going to include as many plants as possible. And I think it actually looked really nice, you know, since we don't have some actual ground to place like legit plants. I kind of went for like a faux naturalist look and just used a lot of potted plants, which I feel like would be a thing for Victorian households anyway. So that's that. And of course, most of it is decorative, but you can pretend like there's herbs there. You could have some basil and parsley and spinach and stuff like that. And yeah, you guys can see me add in some planter boxes over here as well. Originally, I was planning to have some actual plants, so you guys can see me look for some legit plants over here. But for some strange reason, they did not want to be placed, and I could not find the vegetable ones. I can find the tree ones, but I couldn't find the vegetable ones. I wanted to plant in some tomatoes and some carrots and some potatoes, but no, I can only find like the apples, pomegranates, and lemon trees. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna leave that to you guys to figure it out, what you guys want to plant there. Okay, so the last couple of rooms that we're gonna be working on are these kind of like common rooms, I guess, mostly hallways and stuff like that. And all of the hallways, by the way, had like a really similar aesthetic to them, and most of them also had the same items as well. I just copied them, and yeah, I feel like it actually worked really well. I think hallways are so difficult to furnish because you don't want them to be a main room, you want the hallways to just be like just there, they get you from one place to the other, but at the same time you don't want it to be boring. So I did add a ton of chairs, and you guys are probably gonna hate me for that, but whatever. By the way, did anyone notice me use this rug like all the time? I don't know why, but that rug looked really pretty for some strange reason, and I really liked using it. So there we go. And of course, we had to include the bust of Cordelia to add in a ton of more clutter. And then, yeah. And then this is the main foyer of the house, which has like a nice little coat rack and a grandfather clock, which, by the way, that grandfather clock was also inspired by Sekyria as well, because she had a grandfather clock in her house, and I'm just like, okay, we have one of those. That's the beauty of making a collab, especially if you're going second, is that you get to see what the other person did, and it's where you discover a lot of items, and I definitely learned a lot from doing collabs with other YouTubers. Surprisingly though, both of us, myself and Sekyria, are new to this. This is only my second collab, and this is actually Sekyria's first collab, and I'm so honored that I was the one that she agreed to collab with for her first collab, and I'm so grateful that she did. Anyway, the last room that we're going to be furnishing is this upper like tower room, I guess, which is going to be like a skill building room. So as you guys can see, there's a ton of bookshelves, which, by the way, I also had to unlock those. And there's also going to be an easel / like a study table over here as well. But I think together with the main living room, this is my favorite room in the whole entire house. I don't know why. I like the colors of it. I like looking at the green color. And I just really like all the items that I place. These items you would normally need to unlock for yourself. But I don't know, I just really like the room. I like the shape. I like the fact that it is on the topmost level of the house. It's literally on the roof. And yeah, it's a ton of items. Like, there's so much clutter. And it's absolute chaos pretty much, but I really, really like that atmosphere. And also, since this was my favorite room, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna add some architectural plans because I feel like it's gonna complete the look that I was going for. You could have like an eccentric sim use this as like their office and stuff, which is so awesome. And then the last couple of things that we're gonna do to finish off the house is actually place in some outdoor lights. Looks really good at night though. I think both homes actually have really good outdoor lighting. And that is actually one thing that I love in The Sims 4. I think the lighting is amazing. And then over here we are just painting in the really, really small garden area, which I also really like the landscaping as well. I was able to incorporate like a nice little table with umbrellas on it, and then yeah, I was able to incorporate some nice little like Mediterranean cypresses, which is strange. If this was in London, those probably wouldn't survive, but whatever. It's The Sims 4, so it'll work. So yeah, and then I did use those hydrangeas that I always use in my builds, which is great. I turned them white as usual. I just really like white for some strange reason. I don't know why. I think it's really pure. That's so cliche. But I think it turned out looking really nice. Adding in some lavenders as well. Once again, my go-to plants. And then what else am I gonna add? Some other plants that I don't exactly know what these are called, but they look really nice. And I'm just like, okay, I have too much white. I need another type of plant to kind of just balance off all the different colors that were happening. So I did add a couple of other bushes, different kinds of plants pretty much to complement the whole entire situation. And yeah, finishing off by adding in some more Victorian looking outdoor lights. And then I think I'm actually gonna add a bench or something. Yeah, I think there might be there's like an area to sit and I don't know, maybe have some tea. Oh my gosh, yes, that would be a perfect place to like have afternoon tea. So yeah, there you go. London, everybody. And then there's also a nice little bench over there. But yeah, that is going to be it for the speed builds part of this video. Okay guys, we are going to go ahead and cut into the floor plans, and as you guys can see, we are going to be looking at all 4 levels of the house, first, second, and third floors, plus the additional basement level for my build. Anyway, special thanks to Sekyria for doing this amazing collab. I had so much fun building it with her, and she was so much fun to work with, so definitely hop by her channel, show her some love, and don't forget to let her know that I sent you guys, okay? All the links will be in the description as usual, but anyway, that will be it for the commentary part of this video. I'm gonna go ahead and leave you guys to appreciate the rest of the video with my video overview. So yeah, once again, please don't forget to hit that like, favorite, and subscribe button because it really does help me out a lot. You all have an awesome day. Thank you guys for watching. Enjoy the rest of the video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye!